Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we are going to take a look at some of the hottest stocks from today. Okay, so these are a bunch of the big winners. Okay, so first up we're going to take a look at MTP. Closed up 75% today. It was up at much higher levels earlier in the day. It had the big pullback. Okay, so when a stock is in a long downtrend and then it breaks above the middle Bollinger Band, this is the dotted purple line, the 50, the 100, the 200, and the 300-day simple moving averages, it needs to stay above that 300-day simple moving average to signal that it wants to head higher. Once this long upper wick started forming and it pulled below the 300, that was your signal to lock in those gains. You know, got below the 200, that was another signal. I better head to the sidelines. Got below the 100, you're signaling more downside risk. So you don't want to hold when that long upper wick is forming if you are a bull. And so currently the candles did pull back towards the upper Bollinger Band down here at 132. If the candles do pull back into the band, you want to see this 50-day simple moving average at 123 hold. The big level to break to the upside is that 100-day simple moving average at 163. If you see a break above that level tomorrow, then that could set up another run up to that 200-day simple moving average at 217. There was a giant volume spike today. There was a PSAR bull flip. The green dots are below the candles, and there were MACD bull crosses. If you look here at the 15-minute chart from MTP, you'll see here, it had that early in the morning climax spike. You can see the big volume spike here at 10:45 and that long upper wick formed. This was the signal to lock in gains. If you didn't lock them in here, there was another signal here with this big volume spike followed by a red volume bar. And so once the middle Bollinger Band broke down here at 2:45, that was your signal the chart was breaking down. Notice the candle started riding the EMA for resistance lower. Okay, so it's currently in a downtrend on the 15-minute chart, and so what you're looking for if you're a bull is a bounce off that 50 simple moving average at 136. If it fails to hold, you can see here the next moving averages are all converged here between 114 and 117. That's the 100, 200, and 300 simple moving averages. That would be a key level to bounce off. Okay, let's look at BURG. Okay, this is another one of those gap and trap type plays. So the share price gapped up at the open today. There was a big open at 430. It ran all the way up to 510. It sucked everybody in, and if you didn't lock in gains when this long upper wick was forming, you were underwater if you chased. And then once it got below that 430 level, the black candle formed. When you have a long upper wick and a black candle that forms above the upper Bollinger Band after a gap up open, and also the red flag is look at the thinly traded stock, you want to head to the sidelines. This is a sign that they're selling shares, dilution. They don't have much volume on an average daily basis, so they're using the increase in share price and the volume to dump shares on the market. That's what's going on here. It needs to hold that 300-day simple moving average at 329. There is a big gap. A drop down to that 200-day simple moving average in 270 would fill the gap. All right, so yeah, keep in mind it's always a risk to hold when a black candle forms. Notice that there was the climax spike at the open on the BURG 15-minute chart. You had the big pullback from high of day from 510, and then you had the big volume bar. And so that was signaling to you that this was time to lock in gains. If you were in this already, all the magic happened at the beginning, and then everybody got caught underwater that chased. Okay, so it's currently below the middle Bollinger Band. It has to get back above that level at 381. If it fails to get above 381, you could see a drop down to 322 to test that 50 simple moving average. Okay, let's look at TRVN. Closed up 12% today. RSI is at 58, so it's still in the bull zone with room to run. You have Fasto between 50 and 80. Check out how ADX is just starting to break away. It's not, it's only at 25. So this is a stock that's heating up. Okay, so it's been in a sideways channel between 140 support down here, and what you can see where it made a double bottom down here, and then this 185 resistance zone, which was the top here on November 21st. It broke that level intraday. If it can get a close above that level, then we're looking at the 200-day simple moving average at the 100-day simple moving average at $2 as the next target. That'll be the next key level to get above and break. You could see way up above there is a gap up here. So yeah, if you can get above the 100, you could see a run to the bottom of that gap at 215, and then a gap fill would be 250 with the 200-day simple moving average at 245 on top. Failed to break 185 and it could consolidate. It's been turning the 50-day simple moving average at 160 and that middle Bollinger Band at 159 into support. As long as candles stay above both levels, it will signal more upside potential. Notice there was a nice volume spike today. So keep an eye on that stock. Let's look at TEUM here. Okay, so it closed up 29% today. Congrats all you blockchain, Bitcoin, crypto related stock players. Yeah, these have been holding up well. So good job. It's nice to see it pushing higher today. It formed that black candle on Friday. If you notice, there was a gap between these two candles. Low of day on the candle here on the 27th and high of day on the 28th, and that gap did fill on Friday. And so with the gap fill and the long upper wick, we weren't sure if EMA4 was going to break down. It pushed higher today, so that was a good move. The next key level to break is the closing price on the 26. If it can close above 280, that'll signal more upside potential. Then we'll be looking at the upper wick up here at about 315, 320 as the next target. As long as that EMA4 at 230 is holding, this uptrend is really strong. If you see it close below, you could see EMA8 tested. Once EMA8 breaks, that's when you could see it drop down to that 300-day simple moving average at 163. So right now the uptrend is still intact and it's pushing higher. Now when a stock is pushing higher, it's good to look at that weekly chart. And so this is these annotations are from the last. These are old. They have not been updated, but as you can see, they're still relevant here. We were looking for a break above that 50-week moving average, and that happened here in December. And then the close above signal more upside. Last week there was a break above high close horizontal resistance from September. It broke the 100-week moving average interweek, this gold line at 274. Right now the share price is currently hitting that level. It's at 268. What bulls want to see is a close above the 200-week moving average or the 100-week moving average for the week. That would be very bullish. If you can get a close above that level, then we'll be looking at this high close from back here at February around 350 on deck. If it fails to get above that 100-week moving average, you could see the candles pull back into the bands. This week's candle is forming above the upper Bollinger Band. Notice it has a nice uptrend going. Candles are riding EMA4 support higher. It has a nice swing trade chart going. It just needs to break that 100-week moving average this week. Okay, let's look at GROW. Okay, so this is the daily chart, and it's heating back up. Okay, so it has RSI at 56, so there's room to run until overbought levels. Notice on previous runs, it runs up to 80, even up to 90. So, and then you have our Fasto down here at 39. Previous runs it goes up to into the above 80. So right now it's just getting back above that middle Bollinger Band after breaking support. It had closed below the middle Bollinger Band back here on the 21st, and then it came down and it tested this 50-day simple moving average. It's down here at 375. That level did hold, and so now the candles are back above that middle Bollinger Band. Notice it's a full Marubozu candle. There's no lower wick on today's candle and no upper wick. That means the first trade of the day was low of day and the last trade of the day was high of day. That is extreme bullishness. The bulls were in control the entire day. And so what you're looking for now is that middle Bollinger Band support to hold at 474. As long as that holds, a new uptrend or this previous uptrend should continue. And then what you're looking for is a run back up here to that upper Bollinger Band and the closing price on the 18th. That 675, 677 level, that is the key level to break. If it can break that level, that would signal that it wants to head higher. As you can see, that the uptrend is intact here. It's been trading in this channel, and so it's bouncing off of the bottom of the channel, which is the 50-day simple moving average, and then right back up to that 675 into the 7s is the current top of the channel. So yeah, this has been a nice swing trade. What the key is to sell above the upper Bollinger Band and then reload off of support. Okay, if you are a swing trader, let's look at NETE. Yeah, this is closed up 24% today. So you've got RSI at 63, so it does have room to run until overbought levels. All right, so today a black candle formed. It's an indecision candle. It's not quite a doji, but it has that same type of signal where there was a struggle between the bulls and bears, and it closed pretty much where it opened. And so what you're looking for if you're a bull is for that EMA4 at 1272 support level to hold. As long as it's staying above that pink line, that signals more upside potential. There are a couple key resistance levels to break. It needs to get above this closing price on the, the 22nd. If it can get above that, there is a gap up here that is unfilled. So you could see the candle here on the 26th started to fill the gap, but a run up to 18 would fill the gap between these two candles. So that is the target, the gap fill to the upside if it can break above this next key resistance level. A drop below EMA4 would be the red flag. It's back above that level today with the gap up open. There is an unfilled gap below. If you look here, so that is you know, a red flag. You know that that gap could fill, and so you can see here there's a small gap between high of day on Friday and low of day today. So a drop down to that 1270 level would fill the gap. You know, there was a volume spike today, so that's good to see following a declining volume pattern. You know, that's exactly what you want to see if you're a bull. It just needs to break through resistance. If you look here at the NETE 15-minute chart, you can see it traded in a sideways channel today after that open. You know, there was a climax spike at the open, and then it's just sideways out. It did break above high close horizontal resistance here at 230. You know, it got above this 945 closing price, so that was a good signal. But you know, it pulled back down. It's holding that middle Bollinger Band. As long as it stays above 1375, that'll signal that it's still, you know, in play. If you see it drop down to 320, you know, that's going to be a red flag. If it breaks 320, then you're likely to see it drop down to that 50 simple moving average at 1270. Now, to the upside, a break above 420 would be bullish, and that would put 1420 would put the 15s back on deck. Okay, let's look at another blockchain related stock. This is LTEA, and yeah, it had a nice move today. So yeah, congrats. It's on this 3-day run. You still have RSI here at 68, so it's still below that 70 overbought level. In the last run, it did run to 90. Fasto is at 57. The long upper wick on today's candle did lower Fasto. So it closed above the next key resistance level, similar to what we were talking about for NET needs to do. It closed above the closing price on this candle right here at $6, so that was a good close. But now it needs to get above the next key closing price, which is on the 21st here, which is around 680, 690 or so, the bottom of this black candle. If it can close above that, then the 8s will be on deck. You know, if it stalls out here and it fails to stay above 6 or fails to get above 7, then you could see EMA 4 support break. You know, that's currently at 532. As long as the candles are riding EMA 4 support higher, the chart is super strong. It just has to bust through resistance. Now to the downside, if it drops below the 200 and 300-day simple moving averages, that would be a red flag, and that's when you could see a drop down to that 50-day simple moving average and fill the big gap that's between high of day on this candle and low of day on this candle. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit. Let's switch it up, check out some energy, a couple energy plays here, and or at least we're going to look at one here, and this is NOG, and so it's breaking out. Okay, so this is super sweet. Congrats everybody that's been in this for more of a longer term swing trade. It closed up 23% today. You know, it is at 80 on our side, and Fasto is at 97. You know, you have ADX here crossing, or plus DI crossing ADX. Notice how it pushed out, you know, broke out today. It closed above the 300-day simple moving average on Friday, signaling more upside potential. That level had been resistance. That's the blue line there. And so the close above was signaling it finally wants to head higher, and today it had follow through. So take note on that. A close above a key resistance level many times signals the stock is finally ready to head higher. And so if it does pull back into the bands, it did push above the upper Bollinger Band. You want to see that EMA 4 at 216 hold, and then you know you want to see that 300-day simple moving average at 190 turn into support. When a stock is breaking out, it's good to look at the weekly chart to see, you know, longer time frame, to check out where the next resistance levels are. And as you can see here, it's hitting the next key resistance level. Last week it closed above that 50-week moving average at 172. That's the green line. That signaled more upside potential. Now it's hitting that 100-week moving average at 264. If it can get above that level and close above it for the week, that would be really bullish, and then we could see a potential run up to this January high close. It could head up to that level just above 360. If it stalls out here at that 100-week moving average and fails to close above, that could be the signal that it's starting to cool down. You know, and it could possibly pull back and test that 50-week moving average. Notice that ever since it closed above the middle Bollinger Band here at the end of October, it has been riding EMA 4 support higher. As long as the EMA 4 support is holding, this signal is to keep riding for a longer term swing trade. You know, I get lots of private messages in the chat about people wanting to just find something that they can ride for a longer period of time, and so this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. If you can enter at the start when it just breaks above that middle Bollinger Band, notice how it broke below the middle Bollinger Band back in March of 2017. It was in a nasty downtrend. Once it finally got above that middle Bollinger Band, that was a signal to start. Okay, this was your good first entry, and then if that level holds, you can just ride it higher. And so you could have loaded here at $1 and still been riding riding and been looking pretty the last couple months. And so this is the type of chart that you want to look for. It's all about the patterns. Okay, so this is what you're looking for if you want a longer term swing trade. Okay, let's look at RENN. And yeah, so it closed up 19% today. This one is breaking out as well. So congrats everybody. You know, it had this. I guess you could call it a sideways channel. You know, it peaked here in November. It pulled back. It found support in this 50-day simple moving average zone, the green line, and then it bounced and it got back above the middle Bollinger Band and it came back up to that level and it just blew right through it today. It didn't even stop. It just exploded through resistance. No double top, just breaking out higher. You know, it pulled back from 13. It needs to break above 13 to head higher. If the candles do work into the bands, what you want to see is this 1150, this high close here from November. You want to see that turn into support. You don't want to see it drop back below that level. That should be support now. And then you want to see candles right in EMA 4 at 1122 support higher. You know, there was giant volume behind the move today. You know, when a stock is breaking out, what do? We look at the weekly chart. Okay, so we pull it out in a longer time frame. And so now we've got this, you know, just what I was talking about before, right, about the longer term swing trade. You could have loaded back here at the end of July, okay, and if not, you know, it pulled back below in August, and then you know, the next candle to load on would have been the second week of August there. But this July, August was the load zone for the start of this uptrend, and you could have loaded back there and just been riding ever since. You know, you could have taken some profits and pulled back. But this is just an example where the middle Bollinger Band has been holding, and if you're looking for a longer term, you know, place to park your money, and you're looking to hold, and you're a bull, you want to have a bullish chart. It's just logical. And so you really want to have a bullish weekly chart. That's what it's all about. I get this question every day, so I'm just trying to help people. You know, this is the type of pattern that you're looking for. And so now what's going on with RENN is it's breaking out above high close horizontal resistance this week, above this October high close. So you want to see it close above that level. Remember, this week's candle will not set until the closing bell on Friday. So a lot can change between now and then. So 1150 is the key level. Notice how that was the top from October 2016, and that was the key support from back here in May of 2016 as well. And so it hit the next key resistance level. That's the 200-week moving average at 1285. That's also was the support level from back here in May of 2016. That's what it's hitting right now, the key resistance level. If it can close above both those levels for the week, that would be very bullish, and then you could see a run up to 15 and a test of that 300-week moving average. Notice that was support from back here. So yeah, so this is a really crucial level on the chart for RENN, and it has to bust through that 13. Okay, so yeah, sorry about this. We're going to look at SRNE. I thought you'd like to see this chart. It's doing you know, breaking out as well. This is another one of those breakout charts. And so yeah, so it busted out above resistance today, and you know, if you're a bull, it helps to go with the flow. You know, stocks that are heading higher are more likely to head higher. You know, stocks that are going down, or you know, it's just a lot of people get caught up riding stocks lower, and yeah, it's much more fun if you're a bull to ride them higher. And so here we have SRNE. It had broke above high close horizontal resistance on the 19th. Okay, the closing price on the 19th, it broke above that level on Friday. That signaled more upside potential. It closed above high close horizontal resistance. That was a crucial level. Notice how it was also the top from back here in October. So the close above both levels signaled it finally wanted to head higher after testing that level for multiple days in a row. And then today was the payoff. That's why you always want to draw your high close horizontal resistance lines. And so as long as the EMA 4 at 401 keeps holding, the uptrend should continue. There's a nice volume spike today. Let's take a look at the weekly chart here for SRNE. And you can see here the big crucial level. It's hitting that 100-week moving average. That's the gold line right there at 447. We want to see a weekly close above that level. If that level can hold, then that's going to signal more upside potential. Once again, notice you know, the candles are forming above the middle Bollinger Band. It has a nice uptrend going. You know, when stocks get above the upper Bollinger Band, that's where you can lock in gains, and then you look to reload off the middle Bollinger Band. If it holds, you know, that bounce off the middle Bollinger Band here was a good re-entry point. And so now if it stalls out at that 100-week moving average, similar to how it did on the 50-week moving average here, you know, it could pull back and test that EMA4. It has to hold that 384 level, and then if it can get above that 447, then we'll be shooting for, you know, eventually to work its way up to that 200 and 300 week moving averages back up to 7. Okay, let's look at IGC. Okay, so this is a marijuana sector stock. It has, you know, black candles going. You know, you know, these throw you off a little bit. It has an indecision candle here. You know, it's holding EMA4 support. It's in a strong uptrend. It just needs to break resistance. It's the closing price here on the 26 at about 126. If it can close above that level, that should be the signal it wants to head higher. And then we want to see a break above 145, and then up here at about 165. Those are the 3 key levels to break. If it fails to get above 125 and close above that level, you could see EMA4 at 106, you know, tested again. A drop below 106, and then that's where you could see this gap filled. There's a gap between high of day on this candle and low of day on this candle. So, you know, a drop down to 70 would fill the gap. And then let's look at TRX here. There's a couple that are heating up. All right. So yeah, this is up 22% today. It made a nice bullish move above the 100-day simple moving average today. You know, it broke out above the channel as well, and so it had been trading in this sideways channel for a couple months here. It had been hitting this 31 resistance level, and then today it finally broke above the top of this channel. You know, broke above high close horizontal resistance and that 100-day simple moving average. If it can stay above 32.3, that should signal it wants to head higher. A break above 35 should see it run up here to the 40-cent level up there, 40 cents up here at the 200-day simple moving average. So that is the next target if it can stay above 32. Stay above 32.40 is the target. And then let's look at PLG. Now this one's, it's heating up. All right, so yeah, it's always good to have ones that are just starting. Notice that RSI and Fasto are both in the 50s. This is your reward for sticking it through all these stocks. Now you're going to get one that's just starting, okay? Everybody's always like, well, what's one that's starting? Well, this is one that you might be able to get in before it runs too hard, so keep an eye on it tomorrow. It had broke above that 50-day simple moving average intraday. We wanted to see a close above that level. That did not happen today. So, you know, it was still a bullish close above the middle Bollinger Band. That's the dotted purple line at 31. If that level holds, a new uptrend could begin, you know, similar to back here in October. But if you notice in October, it got above the 50-day simple moving average there on the 16th, but it failed to hold that level and the downtrend continued. So we're looking for a bullish change in trend. We want to see a close above that level and then a close above the 100-day simple moving average at 42. You know, there could be a trade between 36 and 42 if it can get back above 36. If it fails to get above the 50-day simple moving average, that'll signal consolidation, and you're likely to see that middle Bollinger Band retested. You know, the big volume spike is promising. You know, this sector has been heating up. Notice there's a PSAR bull flip. You know, the metals have been under some pressure, and so we're going to see if this stock can get a run going. All right, thank you very much for viewing this video. I'll post a link to the chat at the bottom of the YouTube video. Please come check it out. There's so many picks, plays, educational information. You know, the premium chat is where it's at. Okay, thank you.